Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the West Lindsey series. This is one of the 9 districts of Lincolnshire and one of the county's most rural. It has 128 civil parishes. Let's see which one this episode's all about. Welcome back to West Lindsey, everybody. Now this is going to be a very fun episode because it's not one that I can do by walking around. I've got to do this one really all in the car because it's very spread out. There isn't really a village as such to walk around. There's just a series of little points where I'm just going to stop the car, get out and talk about what's there. I will of course drive in between and show you what's in between. The first of these is a little pull-in off the A158, which is this road here, popular with lorries apparently, and this gate is in this lay-by, and you can see down there there's a house. That is a grange and it's called Newball Grange. Welcome to the parish of Newball. The West Lindsey series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop, located at 20 Neuberie Road or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. And this video is also sponsored by Jamie's Fitness Studio, based on Low Road, Greyingham, near Pirton in Lindsey. Jamie is one busy lady. Check her out by calling 07906 749 574 or emailing hello@jamies.co.uk. Online membership is available. There's a link to her Facebook page in the description. Jamie's Fitness Studio. Get fit, get happy, get healthy. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Alright, this one's an unusual one. There's no main walk around Newball because it's impossible. Occupying a tract of land that sits to the south of the A158 between Lincoln and Wragby, Newball is so spread out that it's hard to know exactly where all the landmarks are. That said, there are a few, some of which are historically interesting, whilst others are tourist attractions. It's a weird mix, but it works somehow. Let's start with the basics. Newball's name derives from Old English and has nothing to do with any kind of ball. Rather, it means new fortification. What that fortification was, or perhaps still is up for debate. However, logic would suggest it was some sort of castle. In the Domesday Book, it was recorded as Neuberie, and as we learned in Pirton back in North Hertfordshire, the word bury is related to a castle. The same theory can be applied to the town of Newbury in Berkshire. Newball was once a township in the parish of Stainton by Langworth and became a separate parish in 1866. It was enlarged slightly in 1887 when part of Bullington was added to its lands, but the real change came in 1935 when the parish of Colstead was abolished and merged with Newball. It has a few historic buildings like Manor Farm, Newball Grange and a former school, but it's known mainly for its wildlife park on the edge of Newball Wood. So it's a fun one this, let's go and have a look. We begin on the A158, leaving Newball Grange behind us. Newball Grange is a 19th century farmstead, similar to the Laurels at Holton-cum-Beckering. All of its associated farm buildings no longer stand, and the house is the only historic structure left now. Unfortunately, as it's on private land, we can't really get any closer to it. The A158 forms the northern parish boundary for a short way, and on it we'll find our next landmark, and it's called the Blackbirds. This is a small family-run guest house, popular with people who come to visit the city of Lincoln. Handily placed on the main road into town, it's only 8 miles away from the cathedral. It's got 4 guest rooms. Back in the 1800s, the Blackbirds was an inn, and it was defined as being within Stainton by Langworth. As we'll learn in other episodes, the A158 is lined with plenty more former inns, some of which aren't too far away from here. Let's move on again. So if there is a village centre to Newball, I guess this is it. It's very poorly defined, I must be honest with you. So here, you're just off the A158. This reminds me so much of Bullington, which is obviously the next parish over to the east. So you've got a house there, you've got the A158 here, there's a bus stop just there. I'm just going to walk across to this bus stop and see exactly what gives with it. It's not easy crossing the A158, I have to admit. So you might have to be patient here, guys. There's a gap coming up there. There is. Cool. So I'll cross to the bus stop. Let's see what service stops here. I imagine it is served by bus because obviously this is a major road because it goes all the way to Skegness. There you go, you see the number 56 to Skegness via Wragby, Hatton, Bournemouth, Horncastle and Jubilee and High Toynton, I should say. Also, you can also get the number 50 here as well to Louth. So yeah, well served by buses, that's a good thing. Now up here there's a building of great interest, in fact. So we'll carry on walking just for a second and I'll show you the building. I'm going to stand on that central reservation and film a few shots of it. It's here on this corner. There you go. See if you can guess what this is before I tell you in the next section. Did you guess it? If not, this was a school and associated schoolhouse. It was built by subscription in 1825, replacing an older building, and it was designed for 120 children. It was known as Langworth School, despite the fact it's actually in Newball. Mind you, we are right on the parish border here. These days, there's a modern office block around the back of these buildings, which is the base of the award-winning house builders Chestnut Homes. The road that runs south from this area is a narrow country lane, typical of the type found all over West Lindsey. It leads to Apley, and on the way it passes a few more farms and farm buildings. One of them is Manor Farm, arguably Newball's biggest landmark, seeing as it towers over this road. Maps define this area as the village's centre, although it's pretty hard to place exactly where that would be. Loosely defined is putting it mildly. Okay, I've stopped here because this is where the parish notice board is. Believe it or not, Newball does have its own parish notice board. I know, I was surprised too. Google Maps helped me out with that one because I saw it on the map when I was planning this. So, you know, even though Google Maps does have its moments, sometimes it can be useful. It's one of these awful boards which lifts up, but there we are. I'm on the board in Newball. Brilliant. There's the notice board, and next to it we have a Victorian post box, and these two things are right next to Manor Farm, which is that there, which I've just driven down to, and then opposite another farm called Walk Farm. Let's walk across to Walk Farm and show you Walk Farm. There it is, nice trees on its drive, looks rather nice, doesn't it? Brilliant. Very much a farming area, this, isn't it? There's one more area to go to. So if we continue down this road, you'll get to a wildlife park, Woodside Wildlife Park, which is on the edge of a wood. That's why it's called Woodside. Now, I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to film. I've got no idea. So there's only one way to find out, really, isn't there? Woodside Wildlife Park can trace its history back to the late 1960s, when at the age of 8, its owner began what would become a lifelong interest in birdwatching. In 1999, Wood Farm, which stood where the park is today, was purchased in order to turn that interest into a business. It was a completely derelict farmhouse, and it took 2 years to renovate the house so it was suitable to live in, and its buildings were renovated to a standard where their doors could be opened to the public. The result was the Woodside Falconry and Conservation Centre, which opened in 2001. Whilst that was good for bird lovers, its appeal was limited. So in 2005, Woodside ventured into tropical butterflies and reptiles, and before long, animals such as wolves, lynx and tigers were added to the mix. Now the Woodside Wildlife Park is a full-on zoo. If you visit, check out the Sir Joseph Banks Conservatory, which houses some of the world's most endangered species. So a simple drive around the car park is pretty much as I feel comfortable doing here, just like I did with Rand Farm Park. But you get the idea. It's a park that children enjoy. So maybe it's another idea for a day out with the kids. And of course, Woodside Wildlife Park is so named because it's next to a wood, as I said earlier. And that is the wood in question. That is Newball wood. There you go. And it's part of the Bardney Limewoods National Nature Reserve, which we've met a couple of times before, haven't we? So it's good to get another lime wood under our belts. I wonder if there's going to be many more of them. We've seen a few, haven't we, in this area? They all tend to be sort of around Bardney. That's why it's called Bardney Limewoods, I suppose. But of course, Lincolnshire is famed for its limewoods, isn't it? As we learned in that episode, and a few others around it. So there you go. That has been the parish of Newball. A very, very strange one. One that I couldn't walk around for obvious reasons. It's far too spread out. Can't really do anything else but use the car. There's no Strava map today because of that. And yeah, I think I've shown you all the main bits. So now I'm going to head off to my next village, which thankfully is a bit more of a village. It's a bit more concentrated, a bit more than this one is anyway. So yeah, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and this has been the parish of Newball, and I'm out.